Hi Booktube, I'm here with my review of Whispers Underground by Ben Aaronovitch. This is book number 3 in the Peter Grant series. I listened to the audiobook as I have been doing for the other books in the series, and it's narrated by Kobna Holdbrook-Smith, who's an amazing narrator. He is the character of Peter Grant for me. This book was published in 2012, and it's a crime fantasy series. In this book, we're following Peter and Leslie, who are finally back working together to investigate a magical murder. This time, an American art student has been murdered with a piece of magically infused pottery. I just want to talk about the characters because, yay, Leslie's back! She's not just hiding behind a computer screen anymore. She's out there with Peter, you know, being active. And I really like the relationship between them because, at least at this point, it's not sexual. It's not a sexual relationship. It's very much just a friendship. And I really like that. You know, because I was really frustrated in the last one with the copious amount of sex scenes that were in it. And when the female FBI agent was introduced, I was like, oh great, you know, there's the next woman that he's gonna sleep with, and it didn't happen. And it was good. It was very good. So if that frustrated you in the previous 2 books, it doesn't happen in the 3rd book. And then we get introduced to another character named Zachary Palmer, who is a half magical being. Sometimes he's half fairy, sometimes he's referred to as half goblin. So it's kind of like, I really don't know what's going on there with him, but it's quite interesting. I really like him because he's snarky. And he has no problem, like, speaking his mind and talking back. And it makes for some really funny scenes because Peter's kind of like that. He's a more matured version of that. So Zachary Palmer's still like this kind of like young teenager, and Palmer's like the 20-something, you know, kind of more refined snark, if that makes sense. And then we get some diverse characters. Yes, they're background characters, but they're there and they're not tokenized. We get introduced to a Muslim character and an Indian character, which is quite cool. And I really like that our main character is biracial, but the story's not about him being black. The story's about him being a police officer. And he does reference, like, you know, the cultural things that come out of being a black English man, which I think is a different experience from being a black American. I don't want to delve into it. That's stuff that's coming off the top of my head right now. But if we want to talk about it in the comments, like, we can get into that. I think that'd be really awesome. Anyways, I want to talk about the writing too. First of all, I want to say I'm Canadian, in case you didn't know. And I think we get the best of both worlds, being previous British colony, being part of the Commonwealth, and being so close to America. So we get, like, I'm going to use TV as a reference, as a reference point here. Growing up, we had, like, YTV, which was a Canadian channel. So we had Canadian TV shows, then we had American TV shows, obviously. But we also had a lot of British TV shows at the same time. So we got a lot of the different cultures around here. And with chocolate, too, you guys in America are really missing out on all the chocolate out there. Because we get the American chocolate, we get the Canadian chocolate, and then we get the British chocolate, which is awesome. So it was interesting to see really the juxtaposition that happens between the American FBI agent and the British mentality in regards to different things. For example, at one point, Peter Grant takes their primary murder suspect out for kebabs, and the American agent's just like, what? Like, this stuff doesn't happen? Why are you doing that? Why isn't he, like, being monitored and watched and let to do whatever he wants, you know, kind of thing, like, you know, instead of you just taking him out for supper, right? And also, in regards to the writing, he doesn't shy away from describing gross things. I hate where books will take place in sewers and stuff, and you don't talk about poop, and no one falls into the poop, and no one swallows the poop. That's not realistic. If someone is going into the sewers, stuff is gonna go down, or into your mouth, which is what happens, and is really quite gross. But, I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. You want to read about that stuff and, like, cringe and laugh about it at the same time. This book also felt like it was quite a bit shorter, and I want to say almost felt like a filler book in a series, because it didn't delve too much into the overarching storyline. It was more, you know, streamlined. It was more concentrating on just the primary mystery with kind of side bits here and there of the overarching story. But I don't want to call it a filler book, because a lot of good characterization is happening, and a lot of stuff is being set up for the future books. I hope. I'm really sure that it will, because the series is just so great so far. Yeah. And another thing that I've noticed and that I really like is that each book kind of explores a different art form. So in the first one we have an exploration of drama, and then in the second book it's about music and jazz scene and such like that. And this one we're looking at art, which is really cool. So I'm kind of hoping that like maybe the next one will be about like literature, like the literary arts or something, and that this kind of trend continues, because it's really quite interesting. So yeah, read this book. It's really good. Let's talk about it in the comments. I know quite a few of you have read it. So yeah, thank you for watching.